everyone. This is Dr. Megan Buning, Certified Mental Performance Consultant with the FSU Coach Program, and I'm here with Figure It Out Baseball. So today I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I've alluded to as it pertains to focus. Something that we can use actually on the field is called a focus point or focus and flush point. And what that point will do for us is help bring us back into the moment, whether we're losing focus because we're bored, or maybe something's happened in the game, you've given up a big pitch, or you've booted a play, or you struck out looking, something like that, and you just need to get refocused. So a lot of times what we can do is find something on the field that we can stare at and train our eyes on and use what we call trigger words or cue words and that diaphragmatic breathing to help get us back. Now I'll do another video on identifying what your cue or trigger words are, so I'm not going to cover that too much here other than to mention it, but we've already done a video on diaphragmatic breathing, so you'll see me use that. I didn't have access to a field, an actual field, and I figured that that was okay because a lot of this mental performance work that you do, you have to be able to practice it in your daily life. Most of the time that you spend is actually at practice, wherever it is that you practice, or at school, or at work, something like that. So when you look here, many of you I know probably had to do what I had to do as an athlete. You practiced in your backyard a lot of the times. So welcome to my backyard. As you see, there's nothing really special about it. It may look similar to some of your backyards, but the point is I can throw, I can do whatever it is that I need to do right here and work on the little things, the biggest thing, that focus. All right, so when you go out into a field, what you're gonna wanna do is find something that your eyes are naturally drawn to. So this is gonna be your focus point, that point that you just narrow in on when you just need a moment to get yourself back on track or back together. So you can practice finding that even here in your practice environment. All right, so I'm gonna demonstrate this here. If I'm walking out to practice in my backyard, I need to find something that my eyes are naturally drawn to, that I can look at when I need it. Now for me, if I'm throwing in that direction, I'm gonna wanna pick a focus point that's behind me. And the reason is because after I catch the ball, I wanna be able to turn my back completely from the activity and find my point to give myself that separation. Sometimes you may not want to have to turn your back on what it is that you're doing. So your focus or flush point may be in the same direction that you're facing. But like I said, for me, I want to find something that's behind me that I have to physically turn my back on, okay? Now, when I turn my back, something that my eyes are naturally drawn to is that tree right in front of me. It's big, I like trees, that's appealing to me, and it gives me something directly in my eye line that I can look at. So that's gonna be my focus flush point. Now when I use that focus flush point, the first thing you heard me say is that you need to find something your eyes are naturally drawn to. The other thing that you need to make sure of is that it's stable, it doesn't disappear, it's always gonna be there. So a cloud or a bird or a balloon, something like that, those aren't gonna be good focus flush points. If you're at an actual game and you go into the stadium, stadiums are different. You also want to make sure that whatever it is that you choose to look at as your focus point can't be covered up by fans when fans start to fill the stadium or something like that. So keep that in mind. So now that I have my focus flush point, the other thing I have to do is I have to practice using it. And in practice is a great way to do that. If you're in a game, you want to be able to use your focus flush point when you need it, and that's when you need to be able to get yourself back together or back zeroed in on what it is you need to be doing or staying in your rhythm, okay? But if you don't practice looking at that focus or flush point periodically, it's not going to be there for you when you need it. All right. So for instance, as I'm out here practicing, as I get into my throwing routine, every time I turn around after I catch the ball, I'm going to want to look at that tree, even if it's for holding it just for a half second. I just want to know that it's there and get myself in the habit of looking at that focus flush point. Then let's say I'm out here at practice and I'm just having a hard time really getting into it. You've got somebody working out over here, you've got a dog roaming over there, and I'm just at home. I can easily just go in there and be doing something else. And I need to stay focused on what it is that I need to be doing, which is practice. So this is a great time to use that focus flush point. So I'm throwing the ball, I turn around and I need to get myself back into it because my video games are calling me from the inside there. So what I can do is I can look at that focus flush point for 2 or 3 seconds. In that practice, you can use it for as long as you want, although you do want to try to mimic what it would be like in a game. The other thing that you can do is use that diaphragmatic breathing. So while I'm staring at my focus flush point, I take a couple of diaphragmatic breaths, in through the mouth, out through the nose. Okay, so I take a couple of those, and then you can say a trigger word or a cue word that's going to help get you refocused, which I'll cover in another video. So the point is I'm getting myself in the routine. Throw or field the ball, whatever it is that I'm doing, take a swing, whatever it is that I'm practicing, find my focus flush point, take a few breaths. As soon as I turn around, I'm zeroed back into the task that I'm out here practicing. All right, so that's how you practice it in a practice environment. When you go into a game, the same rules apply. Get yourself in the habit of scanning the field. Where do your eyes naturally go? Is there something that's drawing your attention that's going to be there and not be covered up by the fans? A lot of times people say the flag draws their eyes in, okay? So something like that, or a banner on the field, or a particular star within the flag, something. It doesn't matter, it's whatever your eyes go to. Then practice finding it. Even if you're doing well in the game, you've still got to find it so that you know where it is. When you lose it and you need that moment to get yourself back together, then you take a few more seconds and you train your eyes on that focus and flush point. Take your breaths, say what it is that you need to say to yourself, and as soon as you leave from looking at that point, you're zeroed in on what it is, on the game, on the task, on the pitch, on the at-bat. That's how you use a focus flush point. But you've got to practice it out here. So that's what I have for the focus and flush point, and I'll cover that a little bit more in some of the other videos as we go along, particularly when I do the one on the trigger and cue words. Those really go nicely together. Don't forget about that diaphragmatic breathing either. I'm Dr. Megan Buning with FSU Coach.